you have worked in Egypt also, worked in UAE. What can India learn from them? Are we building cities or are we expanding real estate?
Students come to you with a certain set of mind.
One sector, which is 800 by 1200 meters, it is a self-contained city itself,
Yeah.
city within a city. Why can't we create another Chandigarh?
Do you have time for that?
What separates a good student from a great architect?
The best part of the current generation is they know how to move on. They know how to get over it.
So what skills should an architect have?
They do not get that exposure. ये नहीं हो रहा है तो I don't want to do it.
Hi, welcome to Design Karanversation, stories, insights, and conversations. We shape cities, and in turn, cities shape who we have become. तो आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं वो इस कोट को टोटली जस्टिफाई करते हैं. इन्होंने अपनी लाइफ में आर्किटेक्चर, एजुकेशन एंड प्लानिंग में बहुत काम किया है. ऑल्सो अगर बात करें तो इन्होंने स्टार्टिंग में लेजेंड्स लाइक बीवी दोषी, क्रिस्टोफर सर के साथ काम किया, भूटान, यूएई में अपनी सर्विसेज दी एंड इसी के साथ साथ एजुकेशन में भी अपना बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिया. इंडिया की वन ऑफ द टॉप यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में एज अ प्रिंसिपल भी ये काम कर चुके हैं. सो आई एम श्योर कि आज की जो कॉन्वर्सेशन है इट्स गोइंग टू बी वेरी इंसाइटफुल एंड वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव. सो लेट्स वेलकम आर्किटेक्ट ओमकार समुद्र. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Karan.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Sir, I've seen that most architects start with designing buildings. You have shifted to cities, planning cities and everything like that. How did that shift happen so early in your career?
Well, during my graduation time, I was pretty much oriented that I would start with and continue with architectural design and all. Up to some extent, I was very much focused, but a little late towards during the final year and all, because my parents being from a similar background, same background, I would rather say, they put forth that why shouldn't you try go a few steps ahead of what we are today, and they insisted that I should go for a master's, which not initially. But over a period of time, I did agree to, and immediately after my graduation, I decided, okay, I'll go for my master's in planning, which was a turning point for me. I was fortunate that I could get through with the admission process at CEPT University, and with good mentors over there. So those 1.5 years were very important, where I could make a decision that, yes, I could start with planning with fresh mind. I had as a fresher, you could say. And again, I would say I was fortunate enough because there was an immediate opportunity in my hometown, because during my architecture post-graduation, I was away from home and I was looking for some good opportunity that could, be in my hometown. And that time, architect B.V. Doshi was heading one of the projects in Pune, premium one, I would say, or prestigious for that matter, the Pune Development Plan, wherein even the size of the project or the scale of the project was pretty challenging. If you talk about an area of 200 square kilometers plus, and that too the first project in your life. So I thought of not missing that opportunity. Again, I was fortunate that I could get through with the interview process and all. And my thesis guide himself, architect Utpal Sharma, he was the one who was heading the project in Pune, while architect B.V. Doshi used to often visit this place. And that gave me that confidence that, yes, planning, though is challenging, but it's interesting. Each project is going to be different. If you see things happening at a bigger scale and you getting even a small part of the credit, would be an achievement throughout your life.
True.
So that is how I started planning.
And do you, at some point of life, do you realize that buildings alone cannot save? So we have to go into the planning. Is that any thought behind?
See, for buildings to come up,
Hmm.
if I don't have a proper plan in place, um, and if I don't have that vision of how a certain area or a community or a township is going to shape up, if until I have that vision, those things in place, my bylaws, my guidelines, building will never shape up. So for a building to stand, for a township to have its own shape, its form, uh, it is important for us to have planning as a base. Yes, at times I did feel that, okay, I can play a role on both the sides.
Both those ways to be balanced.
That, yeah, means I know what guidelines I'm going to propose, and I know how I can achieve it if I get involved in the building design. But at times, then you have to leave it to the designers also.
Hmm. So in that project, you got a chance to work with the legend Vivi Doshi. How was that in starting of your career, working with the Sir Doshi? How was that?
To be honest, during my postgrads time, we did get a good couple of opportunities where we could interact with him because he used to visit the campus often.
Right.
So I knew, if I'm going to get an opportunity, I'm not going to leave it.
Yes.
So, but yes, interacting with him used to be very different, and working with him was, for a fresher, was always, you have to be on your toes.
True.
And but the best part was, he used to understand what's our background, where are we coming from. So initially there used to be some spoon feeding for us, but then it was so well absorbed by our team that gradually over 2-3 months of time, we got so used to it, and we could understand what he wants, and we started delivering. So initially, yes, it was challenging, but over these 2 or 3 months initial period of time, we could cope up and deliver what he wanted.
When we read about Doshi sir, something like that, उनके बारे में जितना पढ़ते हैं तो he always say that building understand करने से पहले हमेशा ये देखो that how people live, how human live, how human interact. In some of his buildings also, he designed some community buildings and he said, let the people evolve, let the buildings evolve themselves.
Yeah.
So that kind of idea is stuck with you, and did it change your understanding while working with them? Understanding these type of how does जब भी हम दोषी साहब की buildings देखते हैं तो एक timelessness दिखती है always. So why do you think क्या क्या ऐसा था उनके अंदर जो
I will be very honest because I didn't work with him on architectural projects, although I had studied his projects. But I would rather comment on the planning aspect of it because that is something which was very closely dealt while we were, working with him. So we did our initial studies on Aranya also, that is in the
yes one of the biggest
one of the largest
projects.
And unfortunately, over a period of time, if you see now, some people do find it that it's not a very successful project. But if you see what is behind it, the approach that he had, see, it is more of an incremental housing.
Yes.
And for the people who cannot afford one,
Yes.
unless and until you understand their psychology, their lifestyle, you cannot design for that.
Yeah.
So sites and services was one of the aspects of the project, and incremental housing, of course. And when I visited, yes, at times you'll feel the lanes are, pretty tight over there. But during the period when it was designed and the criteria behind it, I think that was a very apt approach that he had for the project.
See.
And answering your question, it wouldn't have been possible for him to deliver unless and until he would have studied that. So there is a lot of background study or homework, psychology that is to be, understood very well. And I think which he used to do it in all his projects. For that matter, even Pune development plan, when we talked about, see, he grew in Pune.
Yeah.
He knew what Puneites are. He knew what psychology they have, what kind of lifestyle they have.
Mm-hmm.
So he always tried that, even if I'm developing a new town or extended limits of Pune, if we are talking about, it should somewhere or the other, reflect the whole Pune as well.
Right.
So I don't think it was possible unless until he knew that, or he was well aware of the psychology. Yeah.
Culture,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. Yeah, that is the main thing. People know Doshi by through iconic projects.
Yeah.
But जैसे आपने अभी बोला, it is a very nice thing that people should learn his process,
Yeah.
not just his buildings. Okay, so you have worked in Egypt also, worked in UAE.
Egypt was just one project, just one
Project in Bhutan also.
Yes.
So how was that, and how's that different from India?
Challenges are equally in each and every place. When I talk about, because Bhutan was I would say, I reached Bhutan, or the second project that I got involved in was in Bhutan. So after India, it was immediately, I didn't happen to visit Middle East, but it was Bhutan. So maybe, it acted like a second soon for me. So late architect Christopher Berenger, he was heading the project in Bhutan that was for Thimphu structure plan. Of course, the scale of projects were very different. Pune, when I worked, it was 200 plus square kilometers. When I reached Bhutan, it was, and when we started with the planning for the capital town, Thimphu, it was 26 odd square kilometers. But the challenges were Pune was relatively flat, most of it. And when it comes to Thimphu, the terrain was very challenging. But the best part of Bhutan was the royal government. So they were very serious about the work. They wanted something different. They wanted a plan to be successful. So their involvement, trust me, I remember Christopher used to work day and night writing reports and all. At the end of the project, a A3 size report having 300 pages being delivered to all the cabinet ministers. And trust me, by the time we made a presentation to them, they knew each and every page. You don't expect a minister to go through that report. And they knew each and every page where what particular aspect of the plan was covered. Because during the discussions, it did reflect. So that is something which I really liked, that they were serious about it. And that gives you, you feel proud about it, that you have worked on a plan which is going to get implemented. When I compare with what we did in India, yes, the municipal authorities, the government was serious about it. But the unfortunate part of it was what we worked on were very slog day and night. Imagine walking all through the entire site or the project area, which was 200 plus square kilometers over 2 years of time, and preparing a plan, and later coming to know that that plan is not going to get implemented.
Okay.
So that is somewhere you lose your heart.
You lose a heart. Yeah.
So moving from Bhutan towards Middle East now, Middle East was a totally different ball game, or it's a totally different market. Beautification, scale were very different than what we worked in
Bhutan.
India or Bhutan for that matter. So challenges are very different. Each and every project was supposed to be only a unique project. So there was no repetition.
Got it.
So every time you start with a project, you have to start with a very fresh mind. So that was the beauty of it. And there were challenges, there were limitations. The clients were very learned.
Right.
And that makes a lot of difference. This was the case in Bhutan also.
Okay.
Because they had visited so many different places in the world that they knew what they want. And in Middle East, they knew what they don't want.
Yes.
And they always had an aspiration that it has to be different than any other project. So these are the beautiful experiences I had in all these three places. Egypt was a very small one project which I have done unofficially for one of the architectural firms there.
Okay.
But that was a very, I would say, a very small project, and yeah.
So, Bhutan oftenly get praised for his culturally rooted planning.
Yeah.
So what can India learn from that?
See, there's a lot to learn, and
Because there's happiness index, Bhutan is very much higher than many other countries.
to achieve what we could achieve in Bhutan is difficult in India, because it cannot happen overnight. You have to change the way every individual thinks. So, means I would say the credit for the people's psychology or approach or thinking process in Bhutan, I would give that credit to His Majesty the Fourth King, even the present king, the fifth king, because they had that vision.
It starts from there only.
Exactly. So now, basic things were always provided by the government over there. So people don't have to pay for education and health.
Nice.
So that has always been taken care of by the government itself. And when you know that your king or your government is providing you with this, you do think of going a few steps further.
Yes.
So now, if I say the literacy rates in the urban part of Bhutan is very, very high. People over there do visit different parts of the world. They come back with certain vision. It's not only the ministers I'm talking about, or only from the government sector, even the private sector for that matter. Now, in a population which is limited, a country population that is a little less than, say, 10 lakhs in today's context, see, achieving that is much more easier.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm
in
today,
India, there are many cities who have more population
exactly.
than Bhutan.
If I talk about Pune now, where I'm based,
Hmm.
10 lakh of population is nothing. So,
Nothing.
and
Right.
again, the density.
Yes.
So, to achieve that is very difficult. So, it is a challenge. I don't think it means, that's possible in another 2 or 3 decades of time. That what we could achieve there, if we could achieve over here.
Let's come to Dubai. Dubai represents speed and scale.
Yeah.
So, what does fast development teach us? What do you think? What are the challenges and what are the pros?
See, fast development requires decision making, a clear vision, and decision making. The brief that you receive from the client, if there is a clarity in that, you know what you are going to do.
Because
So there is no to and fro.
in Dubai, I've seen from last 10, 15, 20 years, it has gone from here to here.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Yeah.
So, how is that possible in your context, in planning and in designing?
Well, that's how I said, if the client is clear about, what he wants,
Clarity.
that clarity has to be there.
Okay.
And I haven't faced, I would say, almost 95% of the projects. I've never faced a lot of to and fro, changing, clients' requirements.
So, once the
Or
design is
things
finalized, it is finalized.
Yes. See, minor changes are always there.
But that is always there. As
And it will happen. Yes, it will happen.
Yeah.
Whether it's architectural projects or whether it's planning projects, it's bound to happen. And which used to happen even there.
But the basic thing is same.
Yes. So, and there were deadlines never used to change.
Right.
So for us, a deadline may vary from a day or two, but it cannot be months.
Yeah.
So if a client is investing a certain amount of money in the project, he wants to see that his returns start as per his plans, and they are not delayed. So it becomes our responsibility as their consultants to deliver. And because if I want to work there, if I want to sustain there, I have to deliver it in time and I have to meet his interest. Otherwise, I cannot sustain.
Okay, so let's talk about this यार. इंडिया में बहुत तेजी से rapidly urbanization हो रहा है, बहुत rapidly. So what do you think? Like it is growing, urbanized हो रहा है, rapidly grow कर रहा है, और are we just expanding the real estate? Because there is a big question here. Are we building cities or are we expanding real estate?
We are building cities. See, there is a political angle to it also, and means I would not like to get involved in the
Business
politics
angle
of
also,
it.
yeah.
But there is one thing I would appreciate over the last 1 decade is which was not there before. That other than real estate, because for real estate to survive, to sustain, to grow, you need a supportive infrastructure.
True.
Which was not there before. But today I could see that that infrastructure is being thought about, it's been planned, it's been implemented, and that probably gives you the confidence that yes, the real estate market is going to grow. Now, another aspect to it, as you said, whether it's only real estate that's growing, affordability criteria have changed over the past, I would say, more than 2 decades now. People do invest in properties. They have money to invest. Whether those properties are occupied or not is a different story again, because the pace with which real estate is growing and the property is being sold or purchased, for that matter, I think it's not matching with the growth.
Yeah.
The population
Big gap.
Yeah. And that gap is there. So when we see those cycles, there's a downfall, then again, real estate market is down, it's growing. So which cycle is going to go on forever? But it is up to the investors again, because the more you buy, the real estate is going to grow.
I was talking to there's a very big senior architect and planner from Punjab. I had a podcast with him, Architect Kumar Gupta. So he's very senior and very knowledgeable. So what he was saying in this discussion about cities, he said that जब तक हम इसको आके बिल्डिंग्स को जब तक हम अर्बनाइजेशन को एज अ कमोडिटी ट्रीट करेंगे तब तक कुछ सॉल्व नहीं होने वाला.
Yeah.
So that is happening right now. Okay, so townships के बारे में बात करते हैं. Townships बहुत डेवलप हो रही हैं. I don't know about here, yet there is high-rise society building townships. North में बहुत हो रहा है. So they give a sense of self-contained cities.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do they solve the urban chaos, or they are just creating some isolate islands? Is it the way to going forward, or it is not the right way?
See, availability of land is a constraint. Demand is much higher. Another criteria is affordability.
So,
See now, let's compare a horizontal development and a vertical development, for that matter. Because when you say island or isolated island,
yeah,
it basically, I would say you are referring to something that is, going tall and providing with all possible amenities within the
everything.
self-contained. Exactly. So I think that is one solution to today's problem, because we cannot expand horizontally, or there is a lot of limitation to expand horizontally. So if supposing I'm staying in a community, 7 acres, 7 or 8 acres of
Land parcel.
a township, you could say, for that matter, and I know it's a gated community, it's safe. Everything is at a walkable distance for me. My children are safe. Parents, mostly both of them are working. So if they know the community is safe, so that is a priority these days than going for something, So though it may appear like an isolated island, but if it's, there are islands next to each other.
Yeah.
I would say. So at the end of the day, I may not treat them as islands. So how better I can, what better I can deliver than the next community is always a challenge, and I think that is the need of the time.
And what do you think of Chandigarh as a city planning? Because हमारी उस पे काफी discussion भी and Gupta ji has a very wide experience, vast experience of studying the Chandigarh development and everything. He told me one thing. जैसे अभी आजकल बोलते हैं 10-minute city आ गया. In the 10-minute city, you get walk to one point of the city to the other point of the city in 10 minutes and have all the amenities. And he told me that it has done years ago in Chandigarh.
Yeah.
One sector, which is 800 by 1200 meters, it is a self-contained city itself, city within a city. You can reach from one point to another point in 10 minutes, and you have all the amenities. You have school there, you have a clinic there, you have a small market there. So, and the whole residences are inward looking, not outward looking, to cut out the traffic.
Right.
So, what is your take on that? Why can't we create another Chandigarh? Not create, we can learn from it and like do something here, not here, in other parts of India where it's needed.
See, Chandigarh was designed as we said, 70, 80 years back. Availability of land. After planning, affordability of buying. And when I compare, see, everyone would like to stay in a bungalow. I would like to have at least a 5,000 square feet plot.
Yeah, true.
Bungalow banao. But not everyone can afford. Now, that is one. One is affordability. One is, do you have time for that? Like, bungalows, I can afford it. See, even for that matter, there are certain film stars in Mumbai, you will say they're staying in apartments. Or they're not staying in bungalows. They can very well afford it.
The maintenance on it also.
Yeah. So maintenance is there. You have to give the time to it. And you need to have people also. मैंने 5,000 square foot के ऊपर बंगलो बना दिया, but I don't have time to maintain. I cannot maintain it myself. I need to have people to work for.
Yeah.
Do we have that? Now, if I talk about my own house, we have a very small house, but we don't find people, to work for us. So we end up, spending our own time doing it. So Chandigarh, if you remember, there was a time where there used to be a debate whether Chandigarh is successful or not. In a lot of aspects, as I said, Chandigarh is successful because everything is available at a walkable distance. But when Chandigarh is expanding, what is happening to it? When you talk about the outskirts of it, they are not replicas of what we have Chandigarh, what we used to have Chandigarh before, what we have Chandigarh today. Do you find high rises within Chandigarh, or do you find high rises in the satellite towns or the adjoining towns of Mohali and
Yes.
So those are where people have now moved to high rises.
There is also one point I have studied about it, and we were discussed it in other podcast also. वहाँ पे क्या था, when he Corbusier designed it, he designed it for a certain population.
Yes.
And he said the 20 kilometers around Chandigarh will be reserved.
Yes.
No other city will come here. And after that, what he did, he had a phase 2 also. He had a phase 2 when the population increases. He said, what we will do, we'll not expand the city. We design in the way, we'll do redensification of the city. We'll change the FSI, we'll change the things, and we can do it. And during, after 15-20 years of Chandigarh built, Corbusier called from the France and told them this is the right time to expand. If you say, I'll send the proposal. But that quite didn't work out after that.
Right.
So, उनके पास तो पूरा plan था how to do it, and there are some high rise, not that much high rise. There is like apartments, flats in Chandigarh also, in core Chandigarh also, but very low height, like 4-5 stories maximum.
You're right.
So he has plans, but यही प्रॉब्लम है कि कई बार वो चीजें आके मटेरियलाइज नहीं हो पा रही, इसीलिए जो सैटेलाइट टाउन्स बन रहे हैं आसपास मोहाली पंचकुला, they are going high rise.
But if you see Chandigarh was so designed, and it was designed in a very phased manner.
Yeah.
The growth pattern was studied. how the city will grow, what has to come next.
Yeah.
So there was a vision based on which, see, deliberations would be made. There will be people who will be criticizing, but as a planner, I would take the positive part of it. That there is a thought process. There was a thought process involved. So it was not just for the sake of it that it was done. If we talk about sectors, defining one individual sector itself, making your townships or your places walkable. See, we do have walkable places even in the places where we are staying.
Yeah.
But are they livable?
Yes.
So there is this difference. Chandigarh is livable,
Yes.
but are the other metropolitans true livable? No, they are not. Chandigarh is green.
Green people like to walk.
People like to walk. See, the weather conditions and all may not be favorable, but they have so well designed and
walkways are
implemented.
shaded.
Exactly. So, are we achieving that today? We are not. So, at the end of the day, see, I'll give you a very small example of two architects, like me and one of my friends. Both of us were building our houses at the same time. We could afford a plot of 2,000 square feet. So I was building my house on a 2,000 square feet plot. He was building his. And we happened to visit our sites during the same time. So he came to my place. He could see, okay, I'm building parking plus 2 floors. And he said, yeah, your room sizes are big and all. Are you going to really, would you be in a position to maintain these on a regular basis and all? And why do you need such
Big places?
I said, it's only once in a lifetime I'm going to build. Means when I come home, I want to be home. I want to feel that, okay, this is a place where I would like to relax.
It belongs.
Exactly. And the family needs to be comfortable again. Then I visited his place. Similar, dimensions of the plot. And he built 3 floors. And if you see the room sizes there, they're barely 9 by 10, 10 by 10. And bedroom was like, you have a double bed, maximum 2 feet of space all around, and the bedroom ends. And I said, why did you do this? He said, see, of course, the conditions were different. Here it was me and my family who was supposed to stay. Over there it was him, his brother, and his parents. So he said, I had that limitation. But on the contrary, how much time does a person spend at home? He said, I come home only after my office work is done, maybe at 7 or 8 in the evening. I just leave at home. In the morning, I'm gone. So how many hours do I spend over there? But now, again, this is debatable, where I would say probably not you. Your kids spend more time at home. Your wife spends more time at home. So don't you think for them, you should have that kind of a space where, you feel, oh, I'm home.
Yeah.
And, I have, though it's a small place, but I'm relaxed. So there is this approach also, probably my approach is different and another architect's approach is different. And same happens with your clients as well, that their requirements are different. Mumbai, if you talk about, people just come home to sleep.
Yeah.
Even most of the time, they may have their food outside, they're partying outside. So their requirement is maybe just 300 square feet of space. So but I think these are aspects which make a lot of difference.
अभी भाई लेकिन कॉन्टेक्स्ट भाई आपने बोला कॉन्टेक्स्ट डिफरेंट हो जाता है. Similarly in Chandigarh, what was that? The reason when they designed the city, it was set to be created as a model city of the India or new India.
Yeah.
Jawaharlal Nehru has specially asked to do a design. That's why he hired a foreign architect.
Yeah.
To be that he as a model for the coming cities in India. और अभी कहीं ना कहीं जो आप बोल रहे हो, प्लानिंग के साथ साथ एक चीज और है जिसके साथ एक बैलेंस क्रिएट करना है, मार्केट फोर्सेस. So what do you think right now अभी क्या होता है? Because you do a lot of work in high rise also. So planning और market forces में बैलेंस हो पाता है या market forces overpower कर जाती हैं planning को? So how does that equation works?
See, many times market forces do overpower. Um, when it's a town planning as an extension of a town, uh, there it's nothing to do with market forces because there is, you don't have one client there.
Sure, yeah.
So it's the government who has certain vision, and of course there are a lot of studies, socioeconomic studies and geographical studies and a number of things which are to be studied for that. So when it comes to city, you define it for them because you see how the city or like if you say if you talk about Corbusier now, when so he defined how a model township or a model city should be developed. So he defined it for you. Similarly, as a town planner, when it comes to a city or an extension of the city, I will define it for you based on certain studies, projections, analysis. But when it comes to a single client, a township, there, it is defined by the market forces or by the client. मुझे इतना बेचना है, मुझे इतना चाहिए. अब उसमें वो फ्लैट 1200 स्क्वायर फुट का है या 600 स्क्वायर फुट का, that is again up to him because he said I cannot sell it.
Right.
So
Sure.
so the scale, it defines.
Different.
Yeah.
True. Okay, let's move towards the other sector, which worked in as education. So, what pushed you from practice to academia?
Honestly, if you see the hierarchy of projects which I've been involved in over a period of more than 2 decades before got involved into academics.
Right.
So those hierarchies, those variations, at some point of time, made me feel that there's something which I'm not delivering. Probably, your mind. I mean, so probably you're tired, and you felt, or you do feel that it is time to take a break from there. Now, taking a break from your profession is generally not advised. But maybe it was time that whatever I had gained, whatever knowledge I had gained, I needed to offload it somewhere because
Giving
giving it back. See, there are again two ways. One is giving it back, and another is, now you need. It's just like a computer hard disk.
yeah.
ये भर गया इसको खाली करो तो नया डेटा आएगा. Probably it's a very selfish approach, you may say.
But it
That
is a
I'm
win-win
offloading.
situation for both.
Yeah, I'm offloading it, but then I want to, I want to learn something from the fresh minds also. And I was fortunate. A friend of mine who was after me for 3-4 years that why don't you take a break and come to us and join academics? Probably students could learn something from you. And after I joined, I felt it otherwise also that it's not only the students but even I'm learning.
Yeah.
And after I could offload that, I was sure that I'm getting something new.
True.
And which I can, deliver it.
Yeah.
So that is one of the aspects where, or one of the reasons I would say, which made me, move to academics. And I think that was a wise decision at that particular time.
And you worked with a lot of students as we have talked. What do you think? जैसे ही architecture school से student निकलते हैं, when they start a practice or when they start working in somewhere, what is the biggest shock they feel just after that? I've heard from a lot of students. That's why I was asking you.
See, we designed the curriculum also for them. So we had an opportunity
Great.
because ours was a newly formulated private university also.
Got it.
So means initially the college was under SPP or Savitribai Phule Pune University, and the course structure was pretty rigid as per my understanding. And so we when we got this opportunity to design the curriculum, we felt let's make it flexible. Let's try to give more freedom to the students. And during the same time, the national education policy also came into NEP 2020.
2020.
So, which was a very initial stage when we started understanding that, trying to incorporate a few things within our curriculum, where there was it actually intended that students should get that flexibility in education. So now coming towards what you asked me, like what is the biggest shock for the students? So till the students reached their thesis or the final deliverable, they always had that flexibility and they always had that freedom. And of course, our job was also to in between unko realize karwana ki, bhai, today you have this freedom, design what you want. Tomorrow you're going to lose it, and आपको सारी चीजें restrict करने वाली हैं, for which they were not so prepared. They are generally not so prepared, and I think that is one shock they generally get. Nahi, this is not what. See, what you want is not going to get uh, implemented all the time. It is the client who's going to define what he or she wants. So, जब वो restrictions आ जाते हैं, तो वो वो एक shock, they have that shock, of course, कि नहीं यार वो academics ही अच्छा था, we had that freedom.
Yeah.
So that I think, but that's a stage that even we had been through that. So otherwise, the current generation, the best part of the current generation is they know how to move on. They know how to get over it. So I would say most of my students, nothing has stopped them कि ये नहीं हो रहा है तो I don't want to do it. I've seen again, more than 90% of them maybe. Moving on, okay, it's not going to stop me. I can do better than this. And they have moved on and they have delivered. So there is one part where it's a shock initial. But second is they know how to take care of it.
Right. What do you think of NEP 2020? Is this the way to going forward? Or it is the step in the right direction?
Yeah, up to a big extent, yes. It's something which is rightly thought about. You need that flexibility. There is a time, like if you talk about flexibility in education is one. If you talk about exiting something that you are not really inclined towards and realize it late in life, during your academic, we'll say when you are pursuing academics for that matter. So giving the flexibilities was a gap before.
Easy.
But like if I talk about a campus or university campus where you have 10 different colleges, you have 10 different streams. While I'm pursuing architecture, I do come across other forms of programs as well on campus, which interest me at times. It may be as an elective, or maybe as a subject, that I can introduce, and I can go to that particular school, understand that somewhere or the other I can link it to architecture. So I have that freedom. And this is just one part of it, absolutely. There are so many aspects to NAP. But our students actually did that. Like we had a school of hospitality on our campus. And so students were always inclined towards, okay, architecture mein ye hai, but what can I learn from other streams? And when they started interacting with our students from other schools, and especially hospitality, so hospitality was not only to do with hotels or
Hotels and
yeah. So it was more to it talked about comfort.
yeah.
It talked about client needs. It talked about fulfilling their requirements. So those are things which students did go and learn from them, and they took it as an elective, and we gave them the freedom that you can take it as an elective.
True.
So it was not only that design.
So anything is implemented in your college.
Yes.
Nice. That is a very good step. As per the changing times in architecture, as per the जैसे आज rapidly education भी बदल रही है, architecture भी बदल रहा है. So what skills should an architect have to be a good architect in next decade?
So this is one of the skills which is going to last till the earth is there. So architects are going to have the skill of reading what the client wants, and as we discussed before, unless and until you understand your client's requirement, you are not going to deliver. So technology wise, softwares and all are going to come and go, and those are skills only to beautify and maybe to give you a realistic picture before the client really spends that money on his or her own house or any kind of structure for that matter. So I think skills more to do with I would say patience is one of the skills, because if the client may not be patient, but you need to be patient with the client. So that's again very individual approach towards it, and that is something which will make you a successful architect. You will last much longer than others if you have that. And again, skills to understand the changing scenarios over a period of time. The best example, as we discussed before, was Chandigarh and changing scenarios on the outskirts.
Yeah.
So it's the need of the time, and unless and until you have that skill, you need to upgrade yourself with that. See, softwares and all are going to there are going to be people who are going to work for you with all the latest kind of softwares and all.
But many of the architecture colleges are just teaching softwares. What is happening?
It is happening, but that is means
Focusing on that more.
see, that is an individual approach. See, one is sustaining. The current generation is also inclined towards what I'm earning.
Yeah.
तो मुझे सारे सॉफ्टवेयर्स आ गए,
Skill set develop हो गया
तो मैं I
at
can
least
sustain.
I'll sustain.
Is the common approach. But knowing softwares doesn't mean that you are going to deliver a good design.
True.
And for you to have a good clientele, good amount of projects, reputed clients, see, your softwares are not going to help you do that. One successful project is going to bring more success to me, more quality clients to me. That is what is going to define success at the end of the day. So what even I tell my students is, you should know the softwares, because tomorrow if I have 10, 12, 15 projects going at the same time, am I really going to sit on means am I actually going to use all the softwares myself? But yes, if I have people who are working for me, I should know where he could improve.
Yes.
So knowing it, fine. Using it all the time yourself is not going to be possible.
Not going to be possible.
So it's basically delivering what the client wants, and that cannot happen only with the softwares.
वही अभी आपने बात किया that some colleges are teaching only software. So what does it mean to create a, you can say, academic culture rather than just running a college? There's a big difference in that. And what does it mean for you? So because many of the colleges are just running the colleges, not creating a academic culture, which is very needed.
So there are numerous approaches for this particular thing. Like, if I have to run to college, if and especially when I talk about architecture as a you know mm, as a course
As a
for that matter, only faculties who are teaching the age-old stuff using the
whole background.
old methods and just the books and whatever's applicable. If I have to develop that culture, I need to have people from the industry.
Yes.
Unless and until my students are not exposed to professionals
Yes.
throughout these 5 years,
Yes.
it cannot start with at the third year level or
Yeah,
fourth. You cannot
true.
define it.
True.
It has to be from day one.
Yes.
I need to have professionals who are also getting involved.
Yes.
And see, that is one good thing. I would appreciate the Council of Architecture,
Yes.
where they insist that you should
Involve
have
the practice
yes.
architects.
So you should have that balance.
Yes.
If you cannot strike the balance, you will never be in a position to develop that culture.
Yes. Right.
And means on the other hand, the council also insists that the faculties who are engaged full time into academics should also go for some kind of trainings.
Yes.
So they have training programs also,
Great.
and that is how that those benefit the faculties who are not practicing.
Right.
Up to some extent, I would
Yes.
say it's not probably 100%, because then if they they have to experience even that, then why do you need the professionals to be involved? So there is a very, and that is a limitation with faculties who are working as core, that they do not get that exposure. So if you strike that balance, if you involve both, that is one aspect again, I'd say, to
Build the right culture.
build the right culture. And students, like there are certain universities who have exchange programs.
That is very good.
During very initial days, it used to be with CEPT. Means rather CEPT started with that, and there are many other universities now who do it seriously. That a student exchange program helps students and faculty both to get that exposure, to learn what's happening, for a certain institute to also understand where there are gaps which could be filled, and they could improvise. Well, that is another thing that is going to develop or add to having a good culture
Culture of the
Yeah.
Okay. So you work with a lot of students. What separates a good student from a great architect?
That's a difficult question, because every student has a skill. See, we should understand that there are a very few in number who only come and join architecture for the sake of it. But most of them who are very serious about it. See, when I say I wanted to offload something, with my skill sets or my experiences and gain something new, it was because I could understand that every student is special. Every student has a different skill set, and they think everyone thinks in a very different manner. So, but not necessarily that every student will be a great architect tomorrow. But trust me, even great architects today learn from students. So I would say, it may not be right to compare a great architect a great student, because both of them are great in their own cases.
Right.
And when I say I wanted to look something, I learned so many things from my students. Though I will not call myself as a great architect, but I would say I was lucky to gain so much of knowledge from them as well.
Right.
So, again, I don't feel appropriate to compare.
Right. So after working for so many years in education, in architecture, planning, What still excites you about architecture?
Let me be very honest. In terms of architecture, I had a very limited exposure as compared to what exposure I had in the
Planning.
field of planning. Um, so, but I don't know. Probably I may not be the right person to answer uh, in terms of pure architecture for that matter. Because for me, it goes hand in hand with math. Because
Okay.
I cannot deliver an architecture product until I have a background of planning. Right? So it's my inclination is always uh, through planning towards architecture.
Okay. Okay, so what is the one, like, you have taken so much professional decisions, personal decisions in your life. During this whole journey, what was the one professional decision which tested you so deeply? Is there any anecdote about it?
I would not say professional decision, but I would say my experience, professional experience for that matter, or something where I was tested during my professional journey.
Any project already?
My experience in Bhutan,
Hmm.
uh, every project for that matter, um, you know, means there's a challenge.
Hmm.
Again, so nothing to do with the terrain. Now, there are two aspects of planning. One is, a broad level city planning, and another what we call in India as town planning schemes, where over there it's known as a local area plan. When I compare preparation of local area plans in Bhutan, where most of the land is owned by, or most of the land is privately owned, and in India it's probably singly owned, and then probably it gets transferred. So most challenging aspect was that when I'm preparing a local area plan, I'm not dealing with one client. The last local area plan that I was involved in, the project area was approximately 1,400 acres. And there were 2,800 land parcels. So, supposing I say on an average, if one person is owning, 5 land parcels over there.
So many clients.
So, I have so many clients to deal with. For an architectural project, I may be dealing with, though probably, their partners. So I may be dealing with 4 or 5 people at the max for a single project. And I'm satisfying, every individual of those 5 people's need over there.
Yeah.
But when I talk about planning, and that too in Bhutan, I have to meet, the requirement of more than 200, 300 clients at the same time.
Right.
So I have to make sure that each and every one is convinced and they're happy with what I'm delivering. So government approving it as at a very later stage. It's only if the landowners approve it
First.
exactly. Only then the government is approving.
Right.
So that is something very difficult because you are deciding. See, a person has purchased a land parcel with certain dreams.
True.
And you are modifying their dreams.
Yeah.
To deliver something good, of course. So to convince that individual,
This is very difficult.
that
So many individuals at
exactly.
the same time. Yeah.
So was your land parcel. You had a certain dream, but you now have to modify your dream based on what I'm giving you.
Yeah. Very good.
So that has always been a challenge,
Challenging
throughout my career. But otherwise, convincing an individual client is not so difficult, though they change their minds every second day.
So, which role taught you more about life? Practice or teaching?
It is both. Because again, but every project is a challenging project for you. You learn, so many things so that you improvise your next projects. So it teaches you a lot. So you cannot deny that.
Yeah.
When it comes to teaching, students come to you with a certain set of mind. They come to you with a lot of hope. The parents come to you with a lot of hope. The moment they give, okay, this is my child, and next 5 years is your responsibility. So, delivering that with a consistency teaches you a lot, because every second day you learn something and you have to improvise the next day, because there are so many hopes which are, which people have in you.
You have to cast a physicality.
So I would say, it's, again, it's not comparable, because whether it's profession, you are going to learn a lot of things because you have to improvise.
Yes.
Or academics, because you just cannot say, okay, I'm done, I've taught this, now it's your headache.
Yeah.
See, there are universities who have an approach, or who want the students to self-study. And you may say that, probably we are, means we are not following uh, the same, or you could say, process, or we are old school, maybe, for that matter. But I cannot let my students rely on something which Google delivers,
Yeah.
because they are not in the state of mind where they can decide whether that information is authentic or not.
True.
So there are
There's a lot of misinformation.
Yes, so you have to spoon feed them up to some extent. If you and so again, there is a learning over there as well.
Right. Okay, let's move to a small quick fire round. I'll ask 4 questions from you. Uh, a city that inspires you?
Anywhere in the world, for that matter.
Yeah.
Dubai.
Dubai. One planning mistake India keeps repeating.
They don't hire the right person for the
Right job.
right job.
One book every architecture student must read.
I don't know, I never insisted on any, but history of architecture, maybe.
History of architecture.
Yeah. That is by Fletcher.
Oh,
Yeah.
pleasure. Advice to your 25-year-old self.
Don't be emotional about your profession.
Okay. Last question. What responsibility do architects carry beyond buildings?
Especially with residential projects, I would say. Especially. That means we have responsibility towards each and every project, but especially because that is where humans spend most of the time. So, making a home out of house depends on the architects.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody else can do that.
So you're not just designing houses, you're building homes.
You have to build homes.
Yeah.
Because if I have to be in the office tomorrow with a fresh mind, I have to find my decent that is only found at home and not at, something that we call it as a house.
Yeah.
So that peace of mind can only be delivered through architecture, I guess.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So that was our episode with Karan and Omkar Samudra. We have learned a lot of things today. We have discussed a lot of things today about city, education, about future of architecture education and everything. I hope you will like the episode. And with that, I would like to thank sir.
Our pleasure.
For coming to the episode. And how was your experience, if you want to say?
It was wonderful. There's one good thing I liked about your approach is that you always want it to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
And so it's natural.
Yes.
So there's no homework required for that.
True.
So I think that's something which makes it it makes it more interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And dialogue, I always believe dialogue तभी अच्छा होता है जब वो अंदर से आए. So I'd never give questions to any of my guests.
That is something which I really like.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
Okay. Thank you.